This might seem kind of random, but I am currently working on bee-themed cake pops for our friend Zena's gender reveal party. The theme is what will it be? And this is not, just like last video, this is not meant to be a tutorial at all because I don't consider myself well enough practiced to really be able to teach someone this. But I do want to share the process because I've been making these for about a year now, I guess. I'd say about a year. Has it been 2 years? Maybe it's been 2 years. It's kind of a cool story how I came back around to cake pops. I really got into cake pops back in around 2012 because I think that was when they were kind of really trendy. But the cake pop scene has changed a lot since then. Back then, I didn't like making cake pops because I could never get it to work right. They would always fall off the stick. They were really rich, and it just felt like it wasn't for me. I was like, oh, okay, it's cute, but not for me. Fast forward to 2 years ago now. Wow. Jeez. When I was doing a freelance job, I was making videos of maybe 7 or 8 local makers, small businesses, artists, doing a spotlight on their process, their stories, them. One of the artists was a local pastry chef. Her name's Daniela. Her business is called Yumsy's Cake Pops. So go follow her on Instagram and Facebook, I believe. I'll leave the links in the description box below. She already had the cake stuff prepped. So the video shoot just involved her sculpting and decorating them. And I was fascinated. She made it look so effortless. The designs were great. They tasted great because after the video shoot, she sent me home with the ones that she made. We just kind of hit it off because we had this thing in common. And then, long story short, I ended up having her come over to the house for my birthday, which was I think maybe a month after we met or something like that. She led a cake pop class here at our house for our friends and family. It was so fun. It was probably one of my favorite birthdays that I've ever had. My birthday is October 15th. For the party, we just went ahead and had the whole house decorated for Halloween, and it was a Halloween birthday party. And we did Halloween themed cake pops. It was just so great. She's been so awesome teaching us along the way. She's allowed this to be really fun for us. And I keep saying us because me and my mom, we always have had this really strong interest in pastry art. My mom would always make our birthday cakes and stuff growing up. She would do them for family and friends and stuff. And now we kind of both do. So ever since then, I've done a lot of different cake pops for a lot of different occasions. I don't really plan on ever doing this as a service. I think this is something that I just kind of want to keep for myself and to do for my family and stuff. I don't want to monetize every little hobby and thing, but I do want to share it. So that's what this video is for me to share the process of it all. of the biggest differences with this older way of making cake pops versus how we make them now is really it comes down to the recipe, I think. I'm not going to include a recipe in here because I got my original recipe from Daniela, and then since then I've kind of tweaked it a little bit myself, and I think that's kind of what everybody's doing is they start with a basic recipe and kind of go from there. I will say I've learned to avoid vegetable oil and butter in your cake recipe. Still start off with a cake box mix, like you might as well. And then the other thing too is once you have your cake batter like all mixed up, the last thing you add to your batter is like a small box of pudding mix. I think that helps it all come together. I think it makes your cake more dense and it helps it really dough up more. I think the recipe changes the game for me, because it lets me actually be able to sculpt these a lot better, and it's just easier to work with. So for Zena's gender reveal, I ended up doing 2 different flavors. I did strawberry and vanilla. I was supposed to add blue. I was supposed to make the vanilla blue, and I forgot. I was just excited to get to the sculpting and the decorating part. What can I say? So I ended up adding in like all of the blue sprinkles that I had, and it didn't really work out great because some of the sprinkles ended up just kind of like blending into the dough and making kind of a green color. So later I tried to add blue dye to make it more blue. It just kept getting more and more green because the cake's yellow. So that was like an oopsie. Anytime I'm doing like an assorted sort of like set of cake pops, I like to start off with more simple ones. So I always do some that's like a plain color with these little like micro like white sprinkles. I think they just look so nice. Like these look like you could just pick them up at a bakery. There was actually a couple people at the party that asked where our friend had ordered the cake pops from, so that made me feel good. started off just making a bunch of yellow ones. I added sprinkles to some. I was gonna do like a drizzle, like a chocolate drizzle, because like the black stripes of a bee kind of thing, and it didn't look good. I haven't gotten the drizzle down yet. I don't know what it is. I don't think I've got the movement down yet, you know? And then for the rest of the yellow cake pops, the plain yellow cake pops, I painted little bees on. I really like this effect, especially when it is like this painterly style. I like to keep it very loose with this paint. And also, I love this paint. It's called Poppy Paints. None of this that I'm talking about, or I'm going to link in the description or anything, none of this is like sponsored. This is just the result of me falling down the rabbit hole of this new craft. I also tried to add some like bee lines around, and I didn't know if I loved this or not, so I did only do this to half. I will also link the chocolate in the description box below. It is some of the best that I've used and the best tasting. You just pop it in the microwave until it gets to like a really nice loose consistency. The rundown of like assembling the cake pop and coating it is dip your stick into the chocolate, stick that into the cake pop, because the chocolate is kind of like a little bit of extra glue, and then when that's dry, dip the whole thing, and you can either like shake the excess off or tap it on the side of the cup. And obviously if you want to stick any sprinkles or anything to it, do that before it dries. The paint, however, you do after the chocolate has completely dried. So you can kind of see them in the background here, these little like candy bees. Xena picked those up and she brought them by. She was like, you know what, if you can use them, use them. If not, don't worry about it. I knew I was going to use them because they're really cute, but I thought I needed some other kind of embellishments. So you'll see later, I did pick up some little heart sprinkles. I wanted some honeycomb somehow. My mom actually suggested I use one of these silicone like pot holders, or like a, I think that's what it is, it's like a pot holder, and it has this honeycomb texture in it already, and it worked so perfect. I just slathered the chocolate on there and like tapped out as much of the air bubbles as I could, popped it in the freezer for a little bit, and it broke apart so nice. Some of the areas it even broke in like a perfect little hexagon shape. It was great. too late in the day, and I end up working into like way past midnight. But the next day I started working on the strawberry cake. This bell sort of shape ended up being my beehive. I took a cake pop stick and kind of indented the sides with these horizontal lines, and then for the little like doorway I used the end of my sprinkle tweezers because it was like the perfect rounded shape. I will say I wish I would have done these indentions deeper, because you got to remember, whenever you're going to coat this in chocolate, that chocolate's going to soften all those details, and they still turned out really cute. I just wish I would have done the grooves a little deeper. And while the chocolate was wet for these, I did add in a couple of those bees. I think I put a bee on every one of these. Some of the honeycomb I just did by itself. Sometimes I would do some pieces of honeycomb with a little bee candy. Some of them I put a little sprinkle heart. I just kind of kept it random. I think that keeps it fun. And then the last step for those beehives was to just paint on a little arched doorway. And then the last cake pops that I did were the honey pot. This was something basically that Daniela taught me how to do too, because for my birthday party we did cauldrons for Halloween with like green goo. So I kind of altered that idea to do the honey pot, and I used a wafer like she taught us, a chocolate wafer on top, so that way it gives us like a flat area. I let that dry, and then I come back with a spoon and I'll kind of put a little bit more of the chocolate where I want the drip to be, and then I tap the stick down while it's standing perfectly straight up. I really love how these turned out. I do always wrap mine individually. I think for some parties it does look really nice if they're not wrapped for like photo sake, but for something like this where there's a bunch of kids running around and stuff, it just makes more sense to have them wrapped. They also kind of turn into like a little bit of a favor if somebody doesn't want to have theirs right then, or if there's some left over and you just want to like hand them out as a favor at the end of the party. I don't really have a favorite on this one, I think. I love the bees because I love the little painterly look to them. I love all the honeycomb because it was so easy to do and it looks so good. And I love the heart sprinkles in the honey pot. So these that I have sitting here on this display, these were mine that I kept for myself, and I rationed them out over the following week. Like I would just have one every day. And I did change up my vanilla recipe this time. Instead of just using vanilla extract, I added in a little bit of almond extract, and I think that made it taste more like a sugar cookie, which was really good for the confetti style cake. I wanted to make some more cake pops for Valentine's Day, but this was like the week before Valentine's Day, and I didn't want to make another batch, because like if you just make one batch of like one box of cake mix and do it this way, you can get, it depends on how big you make your cake pops obviously, but sometimes you can get like 35, 40 cake pops from one box. But I really want to stick to about a weekly post for YouTube. So do all the YouTube things. Like, comment, subscribe. If you want to know when I'm posting new videos, you can hit the bell notification, blah, 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 blah. The whole thing, like, I hate going through the whole script part, you know? Blech. Do the YouTube things for me, please. I will be making more cake pop videos in the future. It'll be every so often, but also if anyone has like a fun request, I might also be interested. We'll see. I really want to start on some home projects, some like room makeovers soon. We've been doing a ton of spring cleaning, and we almost have the house to a point to where we've got like all the extra junk out of the way. So hopefully that'll come in the next couple weeks. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Go follow Daniela. She's so talented and sweet. And check the links in the description box below if you want to check out any of the like stuff that I mentioned. I feel like my videos have been so random. Because I did miniatures, I did rug tufting, now I'm doing cake pops. That's just what you can expect on this channel. Like, I'm making what I want. And it's fun, so. Thank you again for joining me. I will see you in the next one. Especially if you subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you want to know specifically when I post the next video. Okay. Love you. Bye. Have I been out of focus this whole time? I really hope not.
Bring the beat in.
Kind of looks like a baseball.
I'm glad you're having fun. Yeah, he better edit that out.